Hi all. Today we are going to see about characteristics and limitation of statistics. So before that we can see what is meant by statistics. So the definition is given by Horace Secrist. Horace Secrist defines statistics as statistics means the aggregate of facts affected to a marked extent by a multiplicity of causes numerically expressed, enumerated or estimated according to reasonable standards of accuracy collected in a systematic manner for a predetermined purpose and placed in relation to each other. So in the definition itself, all the characteristics are included. So let's see one by one what are the elements contributing to the statistics. So first one is statistics is the aggregates of facts. So statistics is not only the single information, it is going to be a collection of information, not single information contribute to statistics, but it is the collection of information which is contributing to the statistics. So it is the first point is aggregates of facts, that is not only the single fact but the cumulative of facts. Next, the second element is it is affected to a marked extent by a multiplicity of causes. That is, statistics is not affected only because of one cause, it has various causes. Say for example, we can say the customer satisfaction towards Sakti Masala product. So here the customer may be satisfied towards the Sakti Masala product due to various factors. They may be satisfied towards the brand, they may be satisfied towards the quality, towards the quantity, towards the package. Like that, there may be multiplicity of causes, not even the single cause. Next, the third element is it should be numerically expressed. So any statistical data should be numerically expressed, that is, it should be expressed in numbers. That it should not be say like intelligent, etc. So they should say how much percent they are intelligent, how much percentage of factor if they are contributing. So the statistics should be compulsorily expressed in the numbers. Next, the fourth factor is it is enumerated or estimated according to reasonable standards of accuracy. So whatever statistics the data we are going to collect, it should be of accurate information. Next one is it is collected in a systematic manner. So the statistical data should be collected in an order. For example, if you are having a series of questions like marital status, number of children, etc., the number of children should not be put first and then the marital status question should not come. So first we have to ask about the marital status, again then we are going to ask about the number of children. So it should be in the order. And the last factor is it should be for a predetermined purpose and placed in relation to each other. So the data should be, we are collecting, that should have a purpose. The researcher should have a purpose for collecting the data, and the researcher should be in the ability to compare the data with each other. For example, from 1990 to 1995, what are all the sales in sales in crores or in lakhs, like that the data should be comparable. So the definition itself includes all the characteristics of statistics. So first one is it is aggregates of facts, and the second element is it can have a multiplicity of causes, and the third is it should be expressed in numbers, and the fourth is it is estimated according to the accuracy, and the next is it should be collected in a order, that is systematic manner, and next is it should have a predetermined purpose, and last it should be make of comparable. And moving to next slide, in plural sense it refers to a set of figures, that is, for example, in the company how much of the production data, how much of the sales data, etc. Here the example is the production and sale of textiles, television sets, etc. So in the singular sense it refers to the whole body of analytical tools that are used to collect the figure, organize and interpret them, and finally to draw conclusions from them. So we are going to collect the data. From that point we are not going to stop. So the collected data should be organized and interpreted. For example, if you are having a question gender, there is a male and female. So the interpretation should be how much male and how much female. And while we are comparing in the chi-square analysis, it should say how much male are contributing to the particular factor and how much female are contributing to the particular factor. Moving on to the next slide, characteristics of statistics. So whatever definition we have seen, whatever elements we have seen in the definition, it is going to contribute for the characteristics of statistics. So first point is statistics or aggregates of facts. Again it is repeating. So single figure is not a statistics. For example, national income of a country for a single year is not considered as a statistics, but the same for 2 or more years is statistics. So with one data we cannot do anything with the statistics. So statistics should have a aggregates of facts. So it should have a more comparative in nature. Then the second point, second characteristics, statistics are affected to a marked extent by multiplicity of causes. The statistics cannot have a single cause, as like we have seen in the last example. The statistics can have a multiplicity of causes. For example, the sale of a product depends on the number of factors such as price, quality, competition, and the income of the consumers, and so on. For example, if a product is going to sell in the market, the customer may be purchase the product due to its price, the customer may purchase the product due to its quality, the customer may compare the product and purchase the product. So there may be multiplicity of causes, not a single cause. So that is the main characteristics of statistics. And the third characteristics, it should be expressed in numbers. So for example, the estimated population of India for the next year is 1400 million. Here the number is expressed as 1400. So any statistical data, it should be expressed in numbers. And the fourth characteristics, statistics are enumerated or estimated according to reasonable standards of accuracy. So whatever data we are going to collect, it should have an accuracy in the collected data. For example, if you are going to analyze the wrong figure, it may lead to false conclusion and the data may not be accurate, and the conclusion the recommendation or suggestion we are going to put forth in the data will not be correct one. So the whatever data we are going to collect, it should have a accuracy. But in the reality or in the statistical studies, 100% accuracy cannot be attained in all cases. So there may be a slight point error. An estimate of 5 lakh people witnessed the Republic Day parade does not mean exactly 5 lakh people. It may be a few hundred or thousand more or less. So it depends upon the situation. Next, the fifth characteristics are statistics are collected in a systematic manner. So it is again, it should be collected in an order. Suitable plan of data collection is prepared and carried out in a systematic manner, or else it will lead to a wrong conclusion. So whenever we are going to collect the data, first we have to make a plan, then we have to do it or execute according to the plan we have made. Then the next characteristics are statistics are collected for a predetermined purpose. So whenever the researcher is going to collect the data or whenever he is going to do a research, the researcher should have a predetermined purpose. There should be a purpose in collecting data. Without the purpose, the researcher cannot going to collect the data. The purpose of collecting data, it should be decided in advance, and whatever we are going to plan, it should be carried out. The purpose should be specific and well defined. Next characteristics. Statistics should be placed in relation to each other. So whatever data we are going to collect, it should be in a comparative manner. So for example, it should be compared over the time, it should be compared over the price, over the space, etc. For example, we can compare the data for the period wise. For 2000 to 2005, how much is, and 2005 to 2010, how much. Like that, period wise we can compare a data, or we can go for a region wise. Coimbatore, Erode, Karur, like that we can compare the data for a region wise, for a district wise, for a state wise. Like that we can make a comparison for a statistical data. So whenever data we are going to collect, the statistical data collected should be in a comparable manner. For example, the population of India at a particular point of time may be compared with the earlier years with the population of other countries. Even the data may be compared with the other countries also. It may be compared with the districts, state, countries, etc. So valid comparison can be made only if the data are homogeneous. So whatever data we are collecting, so it should be in it should be in the same statistical unit. Then only we can able to compare the data. For example, it would be meaningless to compare the height of elephants with the height of human beings. So all statistics are numerical statements of facts, but all numerical statements of facts are not statistics. So these are all the characteristics of statistics. So again, for summing up, first one is statistics or aggregates of facts, and the second one is it is affected to a marked extent by multiplicity of causes, and the third one is every statistical data should be expressed in numbers, and the fourth one is it is collected according to the reasonable standards of accuracy, and the fifth one is it should be collected in a systematic manner, and the sixth one is every statistical data or the researcher should have some purpose for collecting the data, and the last one is it should be placed in relation to each other, that is it should be comparable over a period or over a region, etc. And next we are moving to the limitations of statistics. So whatever characteristics we are seeing, there are certain limitations of statistics. So first limitation is it does not deal with individual measurement. It deals with the aggregates of facts. So this is considered as a limitation because the marks obtained by one student of a class is not a statistics, but the average marks has statistical relevance. Even the one student mark is not considered as a statistics, but it contributes more statistical relevance. So it is considered as a limitation. And the second limitation is statistics deals with only quantitative characteristics. So every time we are not going to express everything in numbers, there may be the situation where we are going to express in the quantitative characteristics also. So it acts as a limitation. For example, the intelligence of boys can be obtained on the basis of marks obtained by them in an examination. And the third limitation is statistical results are true only on an average. So we cannot, that is 100% accuracy may not be attainable in each and every cases. So it is true only under certain conditions, but it not be universally true. And the fourth limitation is it is only one of the method of studying a problem. So whenever there is a problem, statistics is not the only method, it is one of the method. And the tools do not provide the best solution under all circumstances, and it should be supplemented by some other evidences. And the last characteristics, last limitation is statistics can be misused. If statistical conclusions are based on incomplete information, it may arrive at a wrong conclusion. For example, we are going to collect the data and we are going to we are going to put it in a research, we are going to make a conclusion or recommendation something. So it may be whenever we are not going to collect the correct information, whenever we are going to make a conclusion out of the collected data, if the data is wrong, it may be lead to a wrong conclusion. So if the data falls on, and the other thing is if the data falls on the hands of untrained person, it is liable to be misinterpreted. So whenever whoever may are going to make the analysis of the data, they should be a trained professional. If it is falls on the hands of untrained person, they can also be misinterpreted. So the statistical data, there is a heavy chance of making misuse, so it acts as a limitation. So summing up with the limitation, first is it does not deal with individual measurement, and the second is it deals with only quantitative characteristics. So every time we cannot express everything in numbers, so it acts as a limitation. And the third one is statistical results are true only on an average, so 100% accuracy cannot be attained in any cases. And the fourth one is it is only one of the methods of studying the problem. And the last, the statistical data can be misused if it falls on the hands of the untrained person. So these are the characteristics and limitations of statistics, which is utmost essential for the researcher to carry out the survey. Whenever the researcher is going to start a survey, first of all, you must know about the characteristics and limitations of statistics. Thank you.